Okay, welcome to our next video in our series of teaching and learning videos. This one's on chatbots and a little bit of AI stuff. And as usual, it's myself and Sid. And Steph's joining us today for a chat about what she's been doing with chatbots and a bit of kind of AI kind of more generally in her department. So, Steph, do you want to give us a little bit of background of what you've been up to in your department?
Yeah, thank you for having me. This all started for me when we started the training with Mark Anderson, the ICT evangelist. I'd come back off mat leave and that was like the strand that we were doing. So I didn't really know a lot about AI before this whole thing started. And some of the stuff that he was showing us, I thought, ooh, this could be really good. Not just from a teaching perspective in terms of like how you could sort of make things for the students that would be accessible, but just to sort of make things quizzes and resources and things that you want to tweak but you never have the time to do, and you'll get to that later. So I started using a lot of like Google LM, and just to sort of make some like pre-videos for students to watch before lessons, and then sort of got a little bit more confident with it really and started to embed it in the actual delivery of lessons and getting students to use the AI of their choice. I would always show them Copilot. A lot of them have got apps on their phone, and so they would always sort of break that out and try and say to them like, so here's a past paper question. Yeah. What does the AI say this means if you're asking it to explain it to you in the language of a 16-year-old media studies student that does A-level media, and then seeing what responses there were.
I bet your students would have loved to have that when you were on mat leave, because it's like a version of you, isn't it, that you've provided for them.
Uploading my brain into a chatbot, which we'll come on to later on, really. But yeah, no, it was just, I think I was a bit scared of it at first because you have to recognise its benefits, but you have to recognise its limitations. And activities like that with the students were really good because we would always get them to do some research, share their findings, and then we'd find out what was wrong with it. So the mantra we sort of have in my classes are that AI will get you so far. It will break down a question for you. You will not get it to write you an answer because that's what I'm here for. The answer it will give you will be wrong. It does not know how to qualitatively evaluate. It doesn't understand nuance. It doesn't understand that there are multiple ways of analysing a different source. It can only take you so far.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things. I mean, there's certainly things that we found when we were kind of looking at it like over that course of that year. And like one's like the literacy thing, isn't it? Getting them used to like how they can use it and how it's really not going to be of use to them. And I know like we kind of introduce people to like Notebook LM and so on. And that idea that it's only really the stuff that we've kind of provided and almost signposted that we've put these resources in. What you actually get out of like those sorts of resources like Google LM stuff and chatbots is going to be way more useful than kind of just whatever Copilot just pulls from here, there, and everywhere, because it's kind of aligned to our curriculum. I mean, what do you think about those things?
I think that's really spot on. What we're sort of looking at now is trying to give them versions of AI that is only using us as professionals as their knowledge banks. So looking at Google LM, making videos and podcasts, it was set up so that it could only use my teaching material, so that, the sort of fake American voices on the podcasts that they thought was really cringy, but it was delivering my stuff, so I knew it was right. But it was just a quick 3-minute podcast that they could listen to before the next topic started, so they weren't coming into the session completely blind and not having any idea of what the next focus of their learning was going to be. And they can listen to that on the bus, and we were embedding it on Canvas, and it was just, it surprised me how low impact it gets the more you use it, and the more confident that you are. Like, I might just see what Canva can do for me today with, building a quiz, or I might just see what, and because you've sort of trained yourself to sort of thinking, I don't want it relying on anything that's not my professional vat of information. I'm probably not as scared as I was when we started, when I was like, but what if it tells them the wrong answers? It's just an artificial intelligent version of me. It's really I will live on in infamy.
It's nice that you've modelled that for your students, though. That's your own personal AI journey, and they can see that you've gone on that journey and you've shared the learning with them, and they hopefully will be able to mimic that on their own learning journey, won't they? When they experiment with these platforms, like you've experimented with Canva, let's say one day, they can see the level of trust that you place into it, but also the level of evaluation that you take with the output. And I think it's so important that you've modeled that for them.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're on their own with these thousands of platforms, aren't they? So I think you standing at the front of the classroom and showing how you've used it is really useful for them, really vital.
I think it has been actually for them. And I think it also just keeps them a bit more like, we're not saying no, we're saying yes, but, you know, but be careful, use it as a revision tool, you know, use it to come in pre-prepared, you know, but it's not the answer to all of the
that was one of the
questions.
things that I think we had a chat a couple of weeks ago. Like you were talking about like doing flipped learning with it and getting to like go and get something from your sort of chatbots or the other resources you'd prepared and like come in with a bit of knowledge, but not replacing you. It was the idea that they kind of got bits and bobs that were in their brain and they were ready to kind of get things from you and be able to discuss things rather than just being totally fresh to the lesson.
And we do that. We do that quite a lot. I do that quite a lot now. Just open your AI of choice and just ask it. You know, what are the 3 major contexts for the print industry in contemporary media, and then we can have a chat. And they're coming into then a context lesson knowing they're going to talk about the decline in print circulation or something like that, and they're not. A lot of this is just helping them feel a little less at sea, which I think is one of the positives I didn't see coming.
Do you think it develops their critical evaluation skills because they've got a higher starting point than they used to have before AI?
I think so, yeah. I think the more mature we are with using it with them, that we're not just saying, you know, everything that you'll see is wrong, don't use it, the more that we can get them to critically evaluate and fact check. The fact checking has been a brilliant byproduct because I've said, well, what are the top 3? Who's used Copilot? What does ChatGPT say? Have we fact checked that? Is that right?
Yeah.
So you're doing in a lesson stuff that, you know,
you wouldn't have done otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like even, I mean, I've done this for like coming to it from completely the angle and like getting AI to do an answer to an exam type question and get them to go, well, you know, this would be worth a certain number of marks. It's not 9. You tell me why. So they're straight in at the kind of evaluate stage rather than trying to generate something from AI. You know, they're attacking it at a different level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it has a really good impact on student learning, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, I mean, I've kind of put a couple of examples of things that both you and I have made. So the chatbots we're just kind of getting to the point of building, and I mean, it's taken a little while to build these, and we've had a few sort of little technical challenges, but I think we're pretty close now to getting them up and running. But I think these are almost going like one step past the sort of notebook LM stage because I think these are kind of able to be a bit more targeted. Like, for example, the one that I've done in physics and also one for computer science is meant as kind of like an assistant. So they can go, oh, well, Andy's not there, but I'm going to want a longish question on a particular topic. Give me one and then mark it. So it can almost replace me when they're at home learning. And obviously, we can sort of, it will actually let you put the whole of, like, for example, the physics folder in if you want to. So, and I know your media studies one's very similar. I mean, how did you find kind of building it? Because it's not super simple, but it's also not that complicated.
It wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. You know, like when I remember like going in on the training and people saying like, "Oh, you could build a chatbot." I'm thinking, how? That's just I'm not going to be able to do that. And then when you know, ironically, the Copilot helped me make it. You know, and it walks me through step by step what I wanted to do. It's sort of very, you know, postmodern at this point, that the thing that I'm making the chatbot for is the thing that's helping me. But once I think you get this mantra in your head that it's garbage in, garbage out. If I can control what goes in it, I know what's coming out of it. And just I've set up a very basic one. It's just maps from a spreadsheet, and it just will tell them what's on what paper. What it comes up, you know, little queries that they could go is like, is that topic on section A? And it'll go, no, it's on section B. Like,
so
you know,
your students using it, and how much, you know, in what ways do they use it?
It's just fact checking, like what's on what paper at the minute. That's my very entry level, like what's on what paper. does this come up in that? What writing frame would you recommend? And it's just stuff that you say, it's stuff that you tell them every lesson. But when they're revising on their own, on study leave, and they're panicking, and they've emailed you at 11 at night, and we're not awake at 11 at night, they can get on and ask the chatbot, and they're getting my answer because I'm what populated it. So I think it's been really beneficial. And also the way that we as a college have done the training has been very much of just give it a go. So if it doesn't work, it's not been the end of the world. It's just been like, that's not worked for me, and we all have preferences, and Canva's not great for that, but this one's great for that. And it is just sort of trial and error. It's not replacing anything. It's not making any more work. It's making the work that we do more efficient, and recognizing that some stuff isn't going to be a fit for AI. You're never going to replace the core of what is good teaching, but it is an assistant. And
Yeah, and I think, I know when I sort of introduced my students, literally sort of last week to it, it was just a case of saying, well, I built this thing, but here's the sorts of queries that would make sense for this particular bot, and obviously different ones will be for different purposes. They really quite like the idea of it. So,
have either of you had much student feedback then?
Yeah, it is very, very new, but my sort of physicists and computer scientists were really quite keen on it when they first saw it. But obviously, there'll probably be more feedback in the next few weeks after the mocks as well, because obviously that's happening at the moment.
Yeah, good road test.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so lovely. So anyway, if you're a teacher at Ashton, then feel free to come and chat to myself or Sid or Steph, and I'm sure we can give you a hand with either AI generally, or if you really want to make one of these chatbots, then obviously we know a little bit. We're certainly not experts because we're new to it ourselves, and obviously if you're not, then feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.